Morning, everyone. Today I am speaking with Jasmine Jackson-Lloyd. She is a trick rider, stunt woman, aerialist. She has trained in jujitsu, kickboxing. She's a climbing instructor and a scuba dive master. She has appeared in Sanditon, Dungeons and Dragons, Vikings Valhalla, Willow, Gentleman Jack, Peaky Blinders, among many other productions. She has also worked on several productions as an assistant horse master, groomer, and riding. Okay, so on behalf of myself and the Sanditon fandom, I want to thank you very much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. I mean, my goodness, you have a resume like I have never seen in my life. It seems like you're willing to try anything.
Oh yeah, always. Anything and everything.
Okay, so I guess my first question is, what was it that made you want to be a stunt woman?
Um, well, since a child, I've always been obsessed with, trying anything and everything that's dangerous.
Oh my goodness.
Um, yeah, if there was something I could do that would push the limits, I would be there. And then when I discovered you could do that as a job, I was like, wow. Wow, what else would I ever want to do? Because I started predominantly with horses.
Mm-hmm.
So they were always my passion as a child. Um, and then I kind of started getting into other hobbies like the martial arts and like scuba diving and climbing and things like that. And then I discovered the British Stamp Register, which is like the governing body for UK stamps.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, and you can use all of those skills kind of to apply. You've got to have six skills, um, and be like professional in those six skills to be a registered member of the British Stamp Register. And yeah, and when I discovered that, I was like, wow, this is my true calling of life. Because I love the horses, but I love doing action and I love doing like, all these kind of dangerous stunts. And obviously, I really enjoy films, and being able to portray the characters, doing all of these skills is quite amazing. So that's where it started, I suppose, and then
Okay.
it's kind of built on from there.
Okay. So did you grow up around horses or did you
No,
did
so
you
funnily enough, like none of my family are horsey.
Oh,
They,
really?
yeah, yeah. So I don't even know where the love originally came from. But they always said that apparently since I was about four, I had always had this just love of horses. So yeah, and we weren't that well off as a family when we grew up, when I grew up. So yeah, we never had animals, or I didn't really have the opportunities that I know a lot of people do have. So every day after school, I'd go down to the local riding school and I'd help out in return for lessons. So I worked like so hard through my early teens, especially to progress to a point where I could start working with horses. So I suppose that made it extra special because I had to work so hard. And it would really upset me when I saw all the people that had horses and they were like, "Oh, mummy, I don't want to ride my pony today." And I'd think, "Oh my God, I'd do anything to have my own horse." So yeah, it definitely made it more rewarding and extra special that I had to work so hard for
Okay. All right.
it.
I checked out your Instagram and I've seen the writing that you do and it is quite impressive. Um I grew up on a dairy farm and we rode horses, but we did nothing like what I have seen you do on your Instagram page.
No. So
Excuse me.
did you have like were you herding all the cattle when you were riding?
No, our cattle were free range.
Yeah.
They came in, to be milked. They knew when it was time to be milked, and they came in. The horses were just for fun.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
It was a 100-acre dairy farm, and the horses were just for fun. We very
Oh,
rarely got to ride the horses because there
uh,
was a lot of work to be done,
yeah, I can
with the rest of the
imagine.
animals and whatnot. So let's touch a little bit on because you have an impressive lineup of series that you have done work on. Um, First, I'll ask you about Sanditon, obviously, because this is the
Yeah.
Sanditon stage. So you were the writing double for Rose Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that I've seen some behind the scenes pictures that did not make it um into the series, but that was primarily going from Herrick Park to the military encampment.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So how exactly does that work? Like, because we saw her getting off of the horse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the pictures, we could see the two of them riding side by side. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it was you and a stunt double for Ben that
Yeah.
riding side by side. So I guess my question is like, do they have her get on the horse and then you're already?
Yeah, so what usually happens is we'll shoot it a few times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say do the action like we did. I know for that scene we did quite a few well, for quite a few of the scenes we did a lot of cantering shots. Me
Okay.
and yeah, the Ben double who was I believe it was Matt Cartmel, I think he's on
Okay.
the.
All
Yeah,
right.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe he was the double for him. So we'd do like the cantering shots. We'd pull up to a standstill, and they'd film me doing the shot, getting off, like so,
Mm-hmm.
putting up, stopping, getting off, and then we'd also shoot it. So the horse was in the final position, but then I'd get Rose on,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd shoot it. So just just to see, so she'd turn to get off, then she'd dismount, and then turn to face the camera. So then it would be cut. So as I would be getting off, as soon as my face turns, then it would be her.
Oh, wow. So there's a
So,
lot of creative
yeah,
editing that
yeah,
happens
yeah.
there.
And that's why it's so important. Like, so I'd always have to watch whatever film I do or series. You need to watch the body language quite carefully, whoever you're doubling, because obviously you want to portray them in the best way, and
Mm-hmm.
to be show the most likeness to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also it depends on the emotion of the scene. Sometimes it could be like a fearful emotion. Sometimes it's a happy emotion. They're arriving home, or so you've got to really take that into account. So there's a lot of acting in stunt work as well, and adapting to the different characters that you're doubling. So yeah, they would usually cut it the moment, because generally, obviously, you don't want to see my face. So the moment my face is, say, turned to the side, then they would cut Rose into it, doing, say, because we'd have her stay on the horse and then do the dismount, and then she would continue the scene. So yeah, it's really nice. It's quite good because you get to work closely with the actors that you're doubling, and then they can give you pointers on how they want you to portray the character, and you get to talk a lot about body language and mirroring their image of how they're acting. So yeah, that was really great. Working with Rose is great. She's lovely. She was really,
Everybody
really
has,
helpful.
yeah, everybody has said that. Everybody that I
Yeah,
have spoken with is just reaps praise upon her, and my God, she is just so incredibly talented. So
yeah, really talented, but also such a nice person. Like, yeah, I've never felt so welcomed onto a set before. She was just like, "Oh my God, hello, you're going to be doubling me," and yeah, no, it was great. We had a really good laugh. Yeah,
oh, that's the other thing, the costuming, like there's,
yeah.
the corsets and all of that stuff must be,
Oh my goodness,
not a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Honestly, I mean, wearing a corset is bad enough, but trying to like get on and off a horse with a corset on. It's harder than you think. Yeah, so there was one embarrassing moment when we were shooting the scene. I think, yeah, again, I was like, actually, it was when I had oh goodness, I can't remember his name, but the little boy, I had him on the back of the saddle with me.
Okay,
Um,
that was actually a little girl
was
dressed
it?
as a boy.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So what were they called in the production? Whose
They
was that?
called her Leo. The little
Yes,
girl
that's
was Leo.
Leo. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Um, anyway, yeah, okay, sorry. So I had her on the back, and honestly, that's got to be one of the most nerve-wracking scenes I've ever shot, just purely because I was in charge of her, and like I could see her mum like stood behind the camera watching, and I was like, please, please, please let nothing go wrong, because obviously she was watching, and I was in charge of her precious daughter on the back of a horse, and we had to like canter into the scene and
hmm
then stop, and then obviously she got taken off the horse, and then I had to dismount. But also in that scene, I was so just petrified about making sure everything was okay with her. And then we stopped, and in this scene, me and Rose were sharing the jacket, so we had one jacket for the scene.
Okay.
Um, because often you get two from costume, so we had the
hmm
two different base outfits, but then
hmm
we were sharing the jacket for the scene. And as I got off, I like kind of opened my shoulders, and the back of the jacket ripped.
Oh
I was like, oh no, but obviously we were still shooting, so I just had to like carry on as if nothing had happened.
no. And
And then
oh
you,
my gosh.
so because it also as well, you kind of gotta, because you merge the scenes, you
hmm
have to kind of continue a little bit. So then I had to turn and like chat to the ladies in waiting as we were like doing the lines. So then when Rose did it, it didn't look like it was cut too quickly. And
hmm
I was just so aware that there was a big split down the back of the jacket.
Oh my goodness.
I suppose, yeah, they're the things you've kind of got to get used to just carrying on with, even if you want to go, ah! Um,
So the other costumes that you got to, not in Sanditon, but in Dungeons and Dragons, you body doubled for Michelle Rodriguez.
yeah.
In Valhalla, were you body doubling or were you an actual character in
No, so I was stunt double for, gosh, I cannot say her name. It's a very European name.
okay, all right,
But she's the blonde, she was one of the blonde Vikings.
okay.
Um, oh my goodness, I would have to search her name, sorry. It's
No, that's
yeah,
okay.
it's a,
That's all right.
it's a very lovely but very hard to pronounce and remember European name. um,
You looked
yes,
amazing in because that I was it was very impressive the costuming that they did for you in that. And you did some pretty fancy riding in that also. I mean, you
yeah,
had
yes,
your
that was
the bow and arrow and
yeah, that was so I will just try and find yes, that was really cool because I got to do a lot of horseback archery and
Mhm,
we had flaming arrows as well. So we're basically like raiding this encampment, and we save Leo, who's one of the um, princes, and a few one of the other guys. It's yeah, so it's like where they've been captured, and then
mhm.
we go and free them and ride off, save them, and then there's quite a lot of fighting on the ground as well, and the whole encampment like is kind of set on fire. So yeah, no, that was really really cool as
That's
well.
it's because there's a connection there between Sanditon and Vikings Valhalla because Leo Sutter was
Yeah.
in
Oh
both of
yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So yes, because I've worked with him quite a lot now because we worked on Vikings and Sanderson together as well. So that was really cool. I'm
So
just
were you in all three series or were you in just series two?
Series two, I did,
Okay.
yeah. On Valhalla and on Valhalla or Sanditon, do you mean?
Sanditon.
Sanditon series two, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
and Michelle Rodriguez in Dungeons and Dragons, how
Oh,
difficult was it to body double her? And she's got some pretty impressive moves in
yeah.
anything that I've ever seen her in.
Yeah, no, she is so badass. And that's probably because she's always been like my childhood, like female crush in Hollywood. Because I loved her and all like the Fast and Furious. And so when I got the opportunity to double her, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a dream come true. And yeah, like it was, yeah, just it was such a cool film to work on because again, like you say, she has so many wicked moves and scenes, and she's such an eclectic actor as well. Like she does so much different stuff.
She's been in so many things that the
Yeah,
first thing that I remember seeing her in is the original Resident Evil, which I'm a
yeah,
huge Resident Evil, um which is weird because I love period dramas also, but like just
yeah.
just a sci-fi nerd. So, and I've seen Dungeons and Dragons. Also, and my husband has not missed an episode of Vikings either. So, and Peaky Blinders, which you were also
Oh yes, Peaky Blinders. That's probably been one of my favorite series to watch for sure. I just think it's so cleverly written, and just like the action is brilliant. And so you see, there's less action stuff that I was doing because I was mainly doing the horses and carriages.
in. Hmm.
There's not much riding and stunts to do in it, for me anyway. So we just did a lot of the horses and carriages. Um, but yeah, what a series like that! Really, there's not many series I've watched from start to finish that I've loved that much. So
I know
yeah.
he was dis disappointed that it was not continuing. My other question for you is, when you're body doubling on horseback, are they your horses or are they provided by the production company?
So it depends. And most of the time they're provided by companies that I work with. So like I work a lot with the Devil's Horsemen,
Okay.
um, and they will provide the horses generally. But so I've done a few productions on, so like when I did like Doctor Who,
Hmm.
and The Watchmen with Jeremy Irons.
Hmm.
So I provided horses for, so The Watchmen. My horse was Jeremy Irons' horse, and I helped source the horses. That was from a company I was running at the time. But now I'm just predominantly a stunt performer, and I don't just do the horses. I'll generally turn up and they'll be provided by a separate stunt horse company.
Okay.
Yeah,
So how is it that because it's a horse that obviously it's been trained
yeah,
um to deal with the lights and the cameras and all of that stuff, but it's not a horse that you're familiar with. So um how I know that they can be a little bit, temperamental at times.
yeah. Of
So
course, yeah. So that's kind of like another major skill when it comes to my job is you could be the best rider in the world, but what it really comes down to is learning to read a horse quite quickly. So yeah, I could turn up on set, I've never ridden a horse before, and obviously you've got to get on it and do all these tricks and stunts.
Mhm.
So it's down to reading the horse and adapting as quickly as possible. Um, and that's really what real horsemanship is being able to read the horse and learn its buttons and what it is comfortable with and what it's not. And also just communicating with the horse team overall, because they know the horse. So as long as you communicate with them, then they can help you understand the horse as best you can, so you can give off the best performance.
That's awesome. Um, so now when I was doing your bio with the scuba diving and the rock climbing, and with you doing more stunts, have you done stunts for anybody using those skills, the rock climbing or the scuba diving?
So this year, so that's been like a fairly new thing.
Okay.
A new thing moving away from the horses. This year I've done a few productions. I did Ollie, which is it's like a war film that's coming
Okay.
out. And I did a lot of water work for that because we had a big scene where the underground tube, it gets flooded. So we've got all the pipes bursting, and then it's like a whole kind of, it's an underwater slash drowning scene. It's one of the biggest water tanks, the second biggest water tanks that have been built in the UK,
Wow.
after the Titanic scene.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's similar to that, how it's all flooding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've done like a quiet place this year as well.
Okay. Yep.
So that was a lot of big explosions and the city kind of being, demolished by the aliens slash monsters.
Okay.
um, what else have I done recently? A few fight scenes, but yeah. So but generally as well, I keep getting busy with the horse stuff, as that's what I started with and have
Mm-hmm.
specialized. But I'm hoping, yeah, more. But then of course also we've had all the strikes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so that's made everything go really quiet. So I'm hoping next year it will all pick up, and then I can carry on with more stuff like the horses as well. But I'd like to move in the direction of just doing a broad spectrum of things as well. Like I really enjoy the fight scenes; they're really fun. Yeah,
Now that is the fight scenes are all choreographed.
yeah,
So, right. So you have to make sure that you're hitting in the right spot so that no
yeah, yeah. No, yeah,
they would
you've
think.
got to kind of. It's a big part of learning the distance as well, especially when you start fighting with the actors, because obviously they're not trained in martial arts. So it's okay when you're running through it with someone else who's trained and has been doing the skill like you. But then, especially when you're working with the actors, you don't want to end up like bopping one on the nose, and then then whole production has to stop for a few weeks of waiting.
I've actually heard of that happening a time or two.
Oh yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
So on the set of Sanditon, was Rose the only one that you body doubled for, or
Yeah,
um okay,
she was the only one I doubled for.
okay,
Yeah, because often as well on a production, if you've doubled for one of the characters, they then don't want you to then double for others
okay,
because
all right,
not not that you see your face, but often it might clash with the script and scenes that they're shooting at the same time because often you have like one or two units running,
okay,
so it might be that you clash. But also they quite like to have set people for the set person.
okay.
Um,
So
so
yeah,
yeah,
so I'm assuming that they had a body double for Rosie when she fell out of the canoe and was almost drowned. I'm assuming that they didn't actually let her do that.
no. No, that would have been far too dangerous. Well, risky as well, because I guess we kind of, yeah, because we're not the faces, they can get
Mhm.
away if one of us drowns.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure that that's not, there are a lot of safety
Oh,
precautions in
I
place that
think,
that does not
yeah,
happen.
when it comes to stunts, safety is probably one of the most important things. Like, obviously, performing it is important, to get a really good shot, but safety is paramount with everything, and that's why everything is rehearsed in advance. So the crew and the cameras know exactly where we're going to be, in what part of the scene, so everyone's prepared. Because that is definitely one of the biggest factors, is just safety and making sure everyone, cast, crew, performers are safe.
Well, that's awesome. So you did get to, obviously you got to interact with Rose and Flora, who played little Leo.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that when you dismounted in that scene, you also got to a little bit with Flo Wilson, who played Mrs. Wheatley.
Yes, yeah, that was
Uh,
it. Yeah, we had like a little interaction where I had to
mhm.
learn some lines to for us. So that was really cool. So yeah, so it's nice when it's not just the stunt performing, like you do actually get to do a bit of acting as well, because a lot of the time, yeah, like I said, the scenes cross over. So
Mm-hmm.
you to make it flow, you've got to do a little bit of what the actress would do in the scene as well as just the action. So then we'll both overlap the scenes we do, and then they can cut it to fit. So yeah, that's quite fun as well, because I don't know, I had thought about acting, but I've always been a little bit nervous
That
to.
was going to be my next question. I mean,
uh,
because you could start out um, being a supporting actor
yeah,
where you kind of get to learn that, because this all the supporting actors that I've spoke with, they say it's a really good way to get started, because you're there, you hear the stuff that's going on with the directors and the actors
yeah,
and
yeah,
all of that stuff, and but you're not really, like, you don't have that pressure where you're carrying the show, and you get to learn
yeah.
from that. So I think you would make an amazing supporting actor
Oh, thank
or
you.
actor, because um we cannot tell the difference. I mean, the work that you were doing for Michelle, you could not even tell. And
No.
on because I was showing the picture to my husband, going, look, she was on Vikings. He loves the Vikings. And he was like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I know who that character is. I'm like, but I don't think it's really her. I think that is just her in costume. So you're already halfway there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because it's something I've been thinking about, because I do quite enjoy it. It's really fun getting into character, and yeah, so it is something I've thought about. But yeah, I don't know. But it's also really fun doing the stunts side of
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
But then yeah, the acting is definitely something I've thought about. So we'll see. We'll see what next year brings.
Well, we will definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
The is do you have anything else besides the Ollie the War movie that you just mentioned? Do you have anything else in the works that is coming up that hasn't?
Not at the moment. No, I kind of have kept the rest after all the strikes and everything. I've kept the rest of this year free, just because it has been so hectic the last 5 years or something. It's been nice to have a little bit of a break, and then I think I'll come into the new year and see what's going on, and then get going again.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
So
yeah,
all of the shows that I listed in your intro, those have all been within the last 5 years? The Gentleman Jack and
yes, yeah, all of those have been in the last 5 years, I believe.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it's been hectic, and something actually which I've only just got into. So the Great, I did the Great as well.
Okay.
I'm not
Hmm.
sure if you've heard of that, but I hadn't
Yes.
actually watched it until the last couple of months, and I started it, and oh, I actually can't get enough of it. I love it. Yeah, no, I really, really got into it. But yeah, the Crown was a really good one to do as well.
The
That was
Crown.
the Crown, yeah. It's
Okay.
about the
Mhm.
English throne, and its history. That's quite a good one. What else was a good one to do? I mean, they were all very fun actually. I do find sometimes the smaller productions, or the smaller series,
Mhm.
can be the most fun to work on, because the crew's on it for a long time.
Mhm.
Whereas when you just get a film, say you'll be on it for like six months to a year, but all the crew is new and they all just come together for that production, and then they'll move on to the next thing. Whereas, like a series that's just rolling on for a few years, it's all the same crew, everyone's been on it for a long time, and everyone's got good friendships and they've built up a good repertoire of each other, and it's really just a nice, friendly group and friendly crew. So yeah,
Well,
that's
that's good. It's
really
amazing.
good. And it was the same. It was the same thing with Sanditon. I think because you'd already done the first season, and then
Mhm.
when I joined in the second season, So everyone had kind of got the group going, and it was all very like flew like clockwork, and everyone
Mhm.
knew everyone, and it was just super friendly, and yeah, I loved it. It was really good. Yeah.
And we all love it too, and that's why we want more.
Yes, I want more. Definitely. That would be
Okay,
brilliant.
so I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do want to thank you very, very much for doing this for me today.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that that you want to tell us that I haven't asked you yet?
Ah, we need to make more.
Yes, yes, we need more, and we're working towards that.
Yeah.
You know, crossing my fingers because there are just so many stories left to tell. And we could get you, you already know how to wear a corset and
Oh
ride a
yeah.
horse, so you
Oh
know,
yeah. I can suck this in.
you can slip right in if we get
Yeah.
more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Getting on a corset. Yeah, sorry. Getting on a corset. Getting on a horse in a corset is definitely one of the things they didn't tell me would be the most difficult on my stomach journey.
Yes,
Falling,
those
yeah.
corsets can be quite uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, falling off in a corset is fine, but trying to get on in a corset, mm.
Well, because your body is like
Yeah, because
restricted and
you can't bend really.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
It's
have a
like
good
being in
stretch
a
of the core.
brace.
Yeah, yeah, that was yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I had this one scene where like I was wearing the tightest trousers, really cool trousers, for one of for Michelle's costume. But this is when I just started, so we hadn't done any horse scenes yet. And I hadn't asked them if they could adjust the crotch so they were a bit more flexible.
Hmm.
So and I was like, oh, please let us not shoot anything today where I've got to get on the horse. And honestly, for the whole day, the scene was me running up and jumping onto the horse in
Oh
these
goodness.
really, and then having to like turn off and gallop off.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, of all the days. And the trousers were
Did the
just so
pants
tight.
make it through? Did the pants make it through the
Yeah.
shoot? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just about. But thankfully, after that day, I had a little adjustment made, so there was a bit of lycra in the crotch, so I could actually get my leg in. Yeah, it's all these
Yeah, that
things.
does seem like it would
Um,
be a little bit difficult because the pants
um,
kind of look like they were leather.
yeah, so they were like kind of made out of leather, but
Hmm.
so I think the costume department obviously probably a lot of them have never ridden a horse before, so they don't realize how difficult it actually is. To basically do a split in leather pants.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but no, they were great. Like after that day, I was like, please, could you adjust these?
Well,
Yeah.
see, nobody could tell that you were in distress while you were doing that.
Well, thank you. Again, you gotta, yeah, it's the acting side of things. Inside, you're going, please don't rip, please don't rip.
Like the jacket.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, poor jacket. I was like, I'm so sorry. Don't know. All the costume are very nice about it. I
That's
knew it was going to happen from the moment I put it on. I was like, oh no.
Well, they were able to finish the scene, so I don't think anybody noticed that the jacket was we did
No,
not
no, no. It was
as
all okay.
viewers.
It was all okay. Oh.
That's awesome. All right, well, I will let you go. And again, thank you so very, very much for talking to me today.
Thank you for chatting to me. That was lovely.
And we are going to keep an eye out for anything, just let us know, and I will share with the group anything new that you have coming up.
Okay,
Um,
no, I will do.
and I
Definitely.
will definitely share it with the group, and we will check it out.
Yeah, yeah, no, let's keep in touch, definitely.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
hopefully work with you again
Okay.
soon.
I'm gonna